Family Matters wasn't just a lighthearted 90s sitcom. It became the backdrop to real-life tragedies no one saw coming. From shocking arrests to heartbreaking deaths, the cast confronted darkness few fans ever imagined. Join us as we reveal where they are now in 2026. Rosetta LeNoire as Estelle Mother Winslow. Now we turn to Rosetta LeNoire as Estelle Mother Winslow, the sharp-tongued old-school matriarch who could silence a room with one look in Family Matters. She was 78 years old while playing the family elder whose presence felt like history walking into the living room. Every line landed heavier because she didn't act like a sitcom grandma. She died at 90 years old on March 17, 2002, at Holy Name Hospital in Teaneck, New Jersey. The reported cause was complications from diabetes, though a TV Guide report cited pneumonia, and she was funeralized at St. Francis of Rome Catholic Church in the Bronx. Her listed resting place is Cypress Hills National Cemetery. Long before TV viewers called her Mother Winslow, she had already fought wars Hollywood rarely admits existed. In 1968, she used her own savings to found the AMAS Repertory Theater Company, built as an interracial theater committed to multi-ethnic casting, a direct challenge to the old gatekeeping system. Her work became so influential that Actors Equity later named its Diversity Award after her, turning her name into a permanent institutional reminder. Her film and stage credits backed up that legacy with proof, not nostalgia. She appeared in projects such as The Sunshine Boys and voiced Big Bertha in Fritz the Cat, all while continuing to work well into old age. Then, near the end of her life, she received one of the most serious honors an American artist can receive, the National Medal of Arts. This moment that reframed her not as a sitcom grandmother, but as a cultural architect who forced doors open for others. Reginald VelJohnson as Carl Winslow. We begin with Reginald VelJohnson as Carl Winslow, the disciplined Chicago police officer and father who anchored the Winslow household in Family Matters. He was 37 years old when he first appeared as the uniformed patriarch trying to keep order both at home and on the streets. Through Carl, he portrayed authority, temper, humor, and vulnerability in a way that defined the series. Today, Reginald VelJohnson is 74 years old and still actively working. He continues to appear in television guest roles, voice projects such as the animated series Invincible, national commercials playing on his TV dad identity, and even competed on season 33 of Dancing with the Stars, finishing in 10th place. He remains a recognizable figure at fan conventions and reunion events connected to his earlier work. After Family Matters concluded, his career entered a complicated phase. Before the sitcom, he had already gained major recognition as Sergeant Al Powell in Die Hard, 1988, and Die Hard 2, 1990, roles opposite Bruce Willis that established him as a dependable on-screen officer. However, casting patterns became repetitive. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, he accumulated dozens of guest appearances in series including Monk, CSY, Bones, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yet few leading opportunities followed. Professionally consistent but creatively limited, he remained visible without regaining the prominence he once had. His personal life unfolded quietly, and in contrast to the large family he portrayed weekly. Reginald VelJohnson has never married and has no children. In interviews, he has acknowledged that decades of demanding filming schedules and relocation to California for nearly 9 months during the production of Die Hard permanently shifted the trajectory of his private life. As he aged, public reports referenced concerns about weight management and cardiovascular health. His story is defined by steady work, long-term industry survival, and the personal cost of dedicating nearly 5 decades to performance over family life. Michelle Thomas as Myra Monkhouse. We turn now to Michelle Thomas as Myra Monkhouse, Steve Urkel's devoted and fiercely confident girlfriend who challenged the emotional balance of Family Matters. She was 25 years old when she brought Myra's loyalty and intensity to the series. Unlike many supporting characters, Myra commanded attention, shifting storylines with sheer presence. Michelle Thomas died at 30 years old on December 23, 1998, at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in Manhattan. The cause was desmoplastic small round cell tumor, DSRCT, a rare and aggressive abdominal cancer diagnosed in August 1997. After multiple surgeries, including removal of a tumor described as Lehman-sized and another rupture later that year, her health rapidly declined. She was buried in New Jersey following a Muslim funeral service held on December 26, 1998. Her career, though brief, carried weight. Before Family Matters, she appeared on The Cosby Show as Justine Phillips from 1988 to 1990, placing her inside one of television's most watched programs. She later joined The Young and the Restless as Callie Rogers shortly before her health deteriorated, attempting to transition into daytime drama even while battling illness. Her final screen appearance came posthumously in the 1999 film Unbowed. What makes her story particularly heartbreaking is the timing. She had just begun expanding beyond sitcom work when the diagnosis struck. Friends and co-stars, including Malcolm Jamal Warner, remained by her side during her final days. Reports detail how anesthesia complications left her body unable to recover fully from procedures, and the cancer progressed with unusual speed. Michelle Thomas's life stands as one of the most tragic chapters connected to Family Matters. Jo Marie Payton as Harriet Winslow. We now turn to Jo Marie Payton as Harriet Winslow, the composed, sharp-witted mother and emotional center of the Winslow family in Family Matters. She was 39 years old when she brought Harriet to life as the moral authority inside the Chicago household. Her performance presented strength, intelligence, and middle-class stability at a time when such representation on network television remained limited. Now, Jo Marie Payton is 76 years old and still occasionally active in the entertainment industry. She continues to participate in reunion specials and voice work, most notably reprising Sugar Mama in the Proud Family revival on Disney+, a role that originally ran from 2001 to 2005 and earned her an NAACP Image Award nomination. Behind the scenes of Family Matters, tensions escalated during its later years. As the character Steve Urkel gained massive popularity, production emphasis shifted heavily toward his storyline. By the final season, Payton's screen time had significantly decreased. Reports from 1997 detailed a heated confrontation between her and co-star Jaleel White during filming, serious enough that crew members intervened physically. She exited the series before its conclusion, and her role was recast for the final episodes. Afterward, her career pivoted toward recurring and supporting roles in series such as Will and Grace, where she appeared during Season 2, and numerous guest spots across network television. Her personal life was equally complex. She married Mark France in 1970, and the couple divorced in 1979. They share one daughter. In 1993, she married Rodney Noble, and that marriage ended in divorce in 1998 during the same period her television career was undergoing transition. She later married Leonard Downs in 2007, a relationship that has remained intact. Payton has spoken publicly about how long production schedules and professional pressure strained her earlier marriages. As she aged, she has managed health concerns including high blood pressure, a condition she has addressed in interviews as part of maintaining longevity. Her career trajectory demonstrates both early prominence and later recalibration, shaped by industry shifts, interpersonal conflict, and the evolving landscape of network television. Jaleel White as Steve Urkel. We begin with Jaleel White as Steve Urkel, the suspenders-wearing, high-pitched genius who accidentally took over Family Matters. He was only 13 years old when he appeared as the awkward neighbor originally meant for a single guest spot. Within months, the character exploded in popularity, shifting the entire direction of the show and transforming him into the unexpected center of the Winslow universe. In 2026, Jaleel White is 50 years old and very much active. He has expanded beyond acting into producing, hosting, writing, and voice work. In recent years, he launched and hosted the syndicated game show Flipside, released a memoir reflecting on his rise and fallout from fame, and continues producing independent projects while revisiting the Urkel legacy on his own terms. But the success came at a cost few teenagers could process. As Steve Urkel dominated ratings, merchandise followed, from talking dolls to Urkel O's cereal, and White became one of the most recognizable child stars in America. He won 3 NAACP Image Awards for the role in 1994, 1995, and 1997. Yet behind the laughter was tension. The sudden shift in focus reportedly created friction on set, with some cast members feeling overshadowed. White later admitted he felt isolated, carrying the pressure of sustaining ratings while still navigating adolescence. The death of co-star Michelle Thomas in 1998 deeply shook him, compounding the emotional strain just as the series concluded. The years after were uneven. He starred in the sitcom Grown Ups, which was canceled after 1 season despite a strong premiere. He had supporting roles in films like Dreamgirls and voice acting success as Sonic the Hedgehog across 3 animated series. In his personal life, he shares a daughter with Bridget Hardy. Their relationship became publicly contentious in 2012 amid custody disputes and allegations that he firmly denied. In May 2024, he married Nicoletta Rule, a technology executive, marking a new chapter after years of public scrutiny. He has openly discussed the psychological toll of being typecast for decades and the difficulty of separating himself from Urkel's shadow. Today, he balances fatherhood, production work, and business ventures, including launching a cannabis brand inspired by the Purple Urkel strain. Kelly Shanigan Williams as Laura Winslow. Now we turn to Kelly Shanigan Williams as Laura Winslow, the intelligent, confident daughter of the Winslow family and the longtime object of Steve Urkel's relentless affection. She was 13 years old when she portrayed the poised teenager constantly rejecting, yet gradually softening toward, the boy next door. Her role grounded the chaos, offering balance between teenage ambition and family loyalty. Today, Kelly Shanigan Williams is 50 years old, focusing primarily on family life and community initiatives, rather than pursuing constant mainstream visibility. She remains connected to entertainment through selective appearances and creative projects tied to youth development. Her transition from child actress to adult performer was not seamless. After Family Matters ended, she appeared in projects such as Ride and later had roles in What About Joan, and guest spots on Moesha and The Parkers. However, the industry's appetite for former teen stars shifted quickly in the early 2000s. Rather than chase diminishing roles, she redirected her focus. In 2007, she launched the Kelly Williams Program in Washington, D.C., creating opportunities for teenagers to produce and air their own television content. That decision marked a deliberate step away from the unstable casting cycle that traps many former sitcom stars. Her personal life provided stability where Hollywood did not. She married Hannibal Jackson on September 5, 2009, in Fort Washington, Maryland. The couple welcomed 2 children, Hannibal Jackson in 2010 and John Irvin Jackson in 2012. While raising a young family, she largely stepped back from full-time acting, prioritizing private life over industry competition. She has spoken about the emotional difficulty of growing up on television and the pressure of being labeled America's teenage crush during formative years. Instead of fighting to reclaim fame, she built a quieter identity centered on marriage, motherhood, and mentorship. Darius McCrary as Eddie Winslow. We begin with Darius McCrary as Eddie Winslow, the charming, impulsive eldest son of the Winslow family who constantly tested his father's patience in family matters. He was 13 years old when he appeared as the cool teenager trying to navigate high school, girls, and discipline under Carl Winslow's strict roof. Through Eddie, he portrayed rebellion, vulnerability, and the pressure of being the firstborn in a law and order household. In 2026, Darius McCrary is 50 years old and still alive. He continues pursuing acting and music while navigating ongoing legal proceedings tied to past child support cases, with a sentencing hearing scheduled in early 2026 related to felony non-payment charges filed in Michigan. His early career showed promise long before legal headlines. He debuted in Big Shots and later voiced Jazz in the blockbuster Transformers, 2007. He also appeared in Saw 6 and joined The Young and the Restless as Malcolm Winters from 2009 to 2011. Yet behind those credits, instability followed. After Family Matters ended, his transition into adulthood was uneven. The short-lived series Freedom failed to gain traction. Public attention shifted away from his craft and toward his personal turmoil. His private life became increasingly turbulent. He married Tammy Brawner in 2014. Their daughter Zoe was born in 2016. The marriage ended in divorce, followed by a highly public custody dispute. In 2015, he was briefly jailed for owing $5,500 in unpaid child support. By 2019, court records showed over $52,000 in arrears, triggering felony charges and mandated counseling, drug testing, and co-parenting classes before visitation rights could be restored. In late 2023, he was arrested again on felony non-payment charges exceeding $52,000. In October 2025, he was detained near the U.S.-Mexico border on an out-of-state warrant, ruled a flight risk, extradited to Michigan, and later entered a no-contest plea to 5 felony counts. For an actor once known as television's confident teenage heartthrob, the public record now tells a harsher narrative. Sean Harrison as Waldo Geraldo Faldo. We come to Sean Harrison as Waldo Geraldo Faldo, Eddie's goofy best friend who somehow turns chaos into charm in Family Matters. He was about 16 years old while playing the lovable, not-too-bright sidekick who kept stumbling into trouble and jokes. Waldo wasn't just comic relief. He became the show's unexpected heartbeat whenever the story needed warmth. Today, he is 53 years old. These days, he continues working as an actor and producer, turning up in selective TV roles and independent projects, including credits tied to a sitcom for Geo and later TV appearances. Once the sitcom spotlight cooled, the road narrowed fast. Waldo was so recognizable that audiences loved him, but that same recognition made it hard to be seen as anything else. Over time, Sean leaned into shorter, character-based appearances instead of chasing constant lead roles. Even so, his career didn't vanish. It quietly shifted lanes. He popped up as Peaches on Girlfriends, took guest roles on shows like Moesha, and later moved into voice work on Legion of Superheroes, voicing Timberwolf and Ron Carr. Years later, he resurfaced again with TV work including The Ms. Pat Show and Raven's Home, proving he could still surprise people who only remembered the apron and punchlines. Thelma Hopkins as Rachel Crawford. We now turn to Thelma Hopkins as Rachel Crawford, the stylish, independent sister of Harriet Winslow, who brought humor and maturity into the Winslow household. She was 41 years old when she portrayed Rachel, balancing single motherhood with family loyalty in Family Matters. Her character added depth to the show's depiction of extended Black family life. Now, Thelma Hopkins is 78 years old. She remains active in selective television appearances, including recent work on daytime drama and reunion projects, continuing a career that spans music, sitcoms, and film. Her path to acting began in music. As a member of Tony Orlando and Dawn, she recorded 16 top 40 singles, including 3 #1 hits, and starred in a CBS variety show from 1974 to 1976. After the group retired in 1977, she transitioned into acting, landing roles in Bosom Buddies alongside Tom Hanks and later Gimme a Break. By the time she joined Family Matters, she had already navigated 2 decades of reinvention. She later left the sitcom to headline Getting By, which lasted 2 seasons across 2 networks before cancellation. Her personal life remained comparatively steady. She married Donald B. Allen in 1970. The marriage ended in 1977, and they share 1 son. Unlike many former co-stars, her name rarely appeared in court filings or scandal columns. In later years, she continued working in series such as Half and Half and Are We There Yet?, and appeared in films like The Wood and the Love Guru. Age naturally slowed her workload, but not her presence. Thelma Hopkins's story reflects endurance across 5 decades, from chart-topping pop singer to sitcom veteran. Bryton James as Richie Crawford. We begin with Bryton James as Richie Crawford, the bright-eyed child of Rachel Crawford who grew up on screen inside the Winslow household. He was just 3 years old when he appeared as the toddler who often wandered through scenes while the adults argued and laughed around him. At an age when most children were learning to read, he was already learning camera marks and studio lights. In 2026, Bryton James is 40 years old, and he remains firmly established in daytime television. He has portrayed Devon Hamilton on The Young and the Restless since 2004, a role spanning more than 2 decades. His longevity there has earned him 2 Daytime Emmy Awards, one in 2007 for Outstanding Younger Actor, and another in 2020 for Outstanding Supporting Actor, along with multiple NAACP Image Award nominations and a win. Growing up in the industry shaped him early. His father, Eric McClure, was a musician and producer, and Bryton entered show business at just 2 years old through commercials and print ads, even appearing alongside Michael Jackson in advertising. That constant exposure meant childhood unfolded under studio schedules. After Family Matters, he avoided the collapse many child actors experience by pivoting directly into soap opera work, a notoriously demanding format requiring up to 5 episodes a week. The discipline kept him relevant but required relentless consistency. His personal life has been quieter than many former sitcom peers. He married Ashley Leisinger in March 2011 in a ceremony officiated by his co-star Christian LeBlanc. The marriage ended in divorce in 2014, though both remained publicly amicable afterward. In 2019, he began dating co-star Brittany Sarpy, drawing renewed media attention. Despite early fame and the pressures of growing up publicly, he has maintained a steady professional trajectory. Sherry Johnson as Maxine Johnson. We now turn to Sherry Johnson as Maxine Max Johnson, Laura Winslow's confident, outspoken best friend who added teenage edge and loyalty to Family Matters. She was 15 years old when she portrayed Max, the stylish and sharp-tongued friend who stood beside Laura through school drama and romance. Her presence anchored the show's portrayal of teenage friendship. Today, Sherry Johnson is 51 years old. She continues working as an actress, writer, and film producer while expanding her career into publishing and independent film production. She recently announced her engagement in late 2025, marking a new personal chapter. Unlike many sitcom peers, her career foundation was built before Family Matters. She gained early recognition as Cherie in Punky Brewster, a role she played from 1984 to 1988. After Family Matters ended, she transitioned deliberately into behind-the-scenes work. In 2009, she wrote, produced, and starred in the independent film I Do. I Did, signaling a shift toward creative control. Over the next decade, she produced multiple independent films and authored several books, including Around the World Twice and Peaches and Cream. Rather than chase network stardom, she constructed a parallel career in writing and production. Her personal life has remained largely private, with no public record of divorces or legal disputes. She has spoken openly about valuing literacy, serving as a spokesperson for reading campaigns, and working with children's charities. In recent years, she reprised her role in the Punky Brewster revival, reconnecting with a character that launched her career decades earlier. Her trajectory differs sharply from many former teen actors by a steady pivot toward authorship, production, and long-term independence within the industry. Orlando Brown as 3J. We begin with Orlando Brown as 3J, the troubled foster child who was taken in by the Winslow family and slowly found stability inside their home. He was just 9 years old when he portrayed 3J, the quiet boy whose guarded expressions hinted at a difficult past. His character arrived late in the series but carried emotional weight, symbolizing redemption and second chances. Now, Orlando Brown is 39 years old. After years of instability, he has publicly stated that he completed rehabilitation in late 2025 and went on to open a restaurant called Orlando Brown's $1 Million Fried Chicken in Phoenix, Arizona. He continues pursuing music and selective television appearances, attempting to rebuild a career that once looked unstoppable. His early success was undeniable. Before and during Family Matters, he appeared in Major Payne, co-starred in Two of a Kind, and later became widely recognized as Eddie Thomas on Disney's That's So Raven. He voiced characters in Waynehead, Fillmore, and The Proud Family, becoming a fixture of late 1990s and early 2000s youth television. But after leaving Disney around 2007, legal trouble and substance abuse began to dominate headlines. In 2016 alone, he was arrested multiple times on charges including domestic battery, drug possession, and obstruction. Court documents detail incidents in California and Nevada involving methamphetamine possession and failure to appear in court. By December 2022, he was arrested again in Ohio on a domestic violence charge after allegedly threatening his brother with a hammer and broken knife. At the time, records revealed he had been living with his brother after experiencing homelessness. His personal life unfolded publicly and painfully. He married Danielle Brown in 2020 and has one biological son with her, along with her 2 children from a previous relationship. He also has children from earlier relationships, including daughters and sons born between 2014 and 2018. In 2018, during an appearance on Dr. Phil, he made widely disputed claims about his identity and parentage, raising serious concerns about his mental health. He later acknowledged struggles with addiction and entered treatment programs, though earlier attempts reportedly lasted only days. By 2025, he publicly declared sobriety and credited faith-based recovery efforts for stabilizing his life. Time changed the Winslow household in ways no one could have predicted. Some found stability, some battled headlines, and some left us far too soon. But every one of them carries a chapter that goes far beyond Friday night television. So when you look back at Family Matters, do you see just a sitcom, or the beginning of real lives that unfolded in unexpected directions? Let us know in the comments which cast member's journey surprised you the most. And don't forget to subscribe for more then and now stories that reveal what really happened after the cameras stopped rolling.